At the first GOP debate last month in Milwaukee, some candidates had heated exchanges, while others kept things a little more civil. On the stage, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott called on his rivals not to criticize each other. We'll see if he follows a similar strategy tonight. Senior advisor to Senator Tim Scott's campaign, Matt Gorman, a longtime friend of politics at 5 p.m. Eastern on CBS News. It's good to see you again here in California. You guys have been here for a few days in California getting ready for this. What's the plan for tonight?
I think you're going to expect to see a couple things. I think, first of all, he's going to talk about why he's running, restore hope, create opportunity, protect the America we love. I also wouldn't be surprised if he draws some policy contrast between him and maybe some of the other candidates. Look, we believe he's the best messenger and has the most consistent conservative record. So he'll put that up against maybe some other candidates, draw some distinctions. And then the last thing I would look for is, in the last 30 days or so since the last debate, he released some extensive plans regarding empowering parents, cutting spending, and rebuilding our economy. Look for him to talk about that as well.
I asked a similar question in one of the other campaigns earlier. You had that first debate. We're on the verge of the second. The polling numbers didn't necessarily move all that much for the senator, unless you're seeing something we're not. What do you, what do you make of that? And does that require a more assertive appearance tonight than perhaps the last one?
Well, he's going to be who he is, number one. And we talked about this at the last debate, too. He's going to be the adult in the room. The crosstalk and the yelling only benefits one person, that's Joe Biden in his reelection. So he's going to be who he is. But look, I think debates are important, but they're not defining a campaign. I think it's important to be built for the long haul. And whether it's the steady upward momentum we see in Iowa, every time we come back from New Hampshire, we're also really heartened. And of course, South Carolina is his home state, but we're not taking anything for granted. We're going to earn it there, too.
Why are these debates still worth it if Donald Trump's not showing up?
Because it's important you have millions and millions, if not tens of millions of viewers. They want to hear what you're about, why you're running. I mean, Tim has a unique story, but he's also willing, just like Ronald Reagan did, to extend a hand to people who might not be or think of themselves as natural conservatives. So it's important you get your message out, you reach people who might not be reachable in normal ways, and people who might not be here, that's their choice.
You know, we talked to California Governor Gavin Newsom a little earlier, who's going to be here on behalf of Democrats, and he said this is essentially just the vice presidential debate, that there's just no way to catch Trump at this point. Does he have a point?
Well, Gavin should talk. I mean, he's trying to audition for president if Biden doesn't run. So really, it lays a little thick for him. But look, I think it's important because I don't put much stock in national polling. However, the national polls show that at least around half of the Republican primary voters want an alternative. This race is still fluid. It's going to be decided by the early states. It's important to use these opportunities to get your message out.
If the government shuts down, as anticipated now, Saturday night into Sunday, does the senator suspend the campaigning and stay in Washington until there's a deal, or does he keep going?
Well, we'll get those hypotheticals when it happens. But right now, our plan is to be on the West Coast for the next day or two, next couple days, and then he'll be in South Carolina this weekend, and we'll monitor all the events from there. If he needs to be in Washington, he'll certainly be in Washington, too. We'll see.
This whole campaign, I mean, others we've talked to today, too, have said it's still early, give it time. This will start to tighten in some ways. Others will peter out and drop out because they just can't afford anymore. Is that where your team sees this going, or is there something we're not missing or not calculating for?
Look, it's important to have the resources for the long haul. I mean, I was here with you a couple of years ago. Jeb Bush was at the center of the stage.
I wasn't going to bring that up, because that was a weird night for you guys.
It was a very weird night. But right, it was him and Donald Trump battling it out. You had Scott Walker still in the race. This is early. And again, there's a lot of time. You're going to take our message to Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. Those folks will really, they're already engaged. But as you kind of see it get closer, the polls will possibly move. It's very fluid still.
I know he's appearing at the California State Convention, the GOP convention, before leaving town. Is California going to be worth spending time in, given the way they've got to redraw their primary rules and make it this winner-take-all contest versus the more proportional way it was done years past?
Look, I think we got to cross that bridge when we get there. Our focus right now is those early states of Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. But to my point before, you got to have the resources to be able to, if you do well in those states, to be able to go into California. You can't go in on fumes. So he's, like I said before, the best messenger in the field, most consistent conservative. It's our job to layer the infrastructure under him until he's ready for the long haul.
And the fundraising's going okay?
Fundraising's going well. Second most cash on hand, only to Donald Trump, even more than Joe Biden.
Right, that is true. And how does he get ready for a day like today?
Well, spends a lot of time in prayer. He's doing some devotionals. He has a lot of his family in town, his mom and
There's a photo with his nephew earlier today,
nephew,
right?
Ben Scott. And so they were all kind of hanging out at the hotel. Like I said, spent a lot of time in prayer and just relaxing. It's important to really just make sure on days like this, they're in the right frame of mind and you're ready to go.
All righty. Matt Gorman.
Good to see you, Ed.
Good to see you again
My
here
pleasure.
in Simi Valley. We appreciate it.